It's been a while since I've been trackside along the Norfolk Southern Harrisburg Line, but a post on a local Facebook Railfan group caught my attention. Reading local crew 94M has just left Anvil Quarry with loads for Abrams Yard near Philly.
Harrisburg east of 94, and be at Dorf there for a 65K over.
I wasn't trackside long when I heard the dispatcher inform they'll be meeting a westbound at Dorf. I'm set up at a private farmer's crossing a mile west of there between Sheridan and Newmanstown. No horn will sound as it's not required. They're slowing down after passing the approach signal at 75, but the engineer gives a bit of throttle to prevent the heavy loads of stone from stalling on the hill that tops out about 1,000 feet behind me. 3 4-axles, a GP38-2 and a GP59E mother slug set break up the monotony of wide cab locomotives that dominate the scene through here. No sound comes from the 627. The RP-M4C slug merely acts as an additional set of traction motors for the 4655. My assumption is RP stands for remote platform, 4 is the amount of axles, and C at the end denoting a controllable cab. My best guess is M denotes its use with a GP59E or GP33 and 59 Eco units, whereas E in the RP-E4C and other slugs mate to GP40-2s. The Millard's Quarry in Anvil is operated by Wimpy Materials and produces a lot of limestone each year from late spring to early fall. Most of the loads go west in Wimpy-owned hoppers to Enola, then down to Millsboro, Delaware for mixing with asphalt. These loads head to the Riverside Materials asphalt plant in Port Richmond, just north of Philly, and according to their website, can unload one of these 50-car trains in 2.5 hours. These Conrail H1K stone hoppers are nearing 30 years of service and still look much the same as when they were built, though the war on graffiti is a constant battle in urban areas. I head over to Brick Plant Road. If you can spot the hole midway up the mountain, that was where material was brought down and made into refractory bricks here. The kilns were torn down at the turn of the 21st century, leaving just the warehouses, which are now used by building material supplier 7D Wholesale, which is still served by rail. The railroad still refers to this as Klopp's Road, named for the Klopp's feed mill that stood by the crossing on the left, but was torn down 10 years ago and replaced by this auto body shop. This is confusing to the jitney vans that sometimes come here to relieve crews stopped at the signal because they are unable to find Klopp's Road on the map. 94M is stopped in a manner not to block the crossing since there's only 1,500 feet between the road and the signal. Womelsdorf siding is used to store all kinds of cars, accessed by hand throws bookending the Dorf control point, both named after the town of Womelsdorf to the north. The west end has a switch to access 7D located near the 74 milepost, which counts up from Philadelphia. This is, after all, the former Philadelphia and Reading territory, later becoming the Reading Railroad, and then Conrail and now Norfolk Southern.
65K in the NS 4242 coming to you westbound on track 1. I have permission past your conditional stop sign at 1867.
Speaking of Reading, 65K is around there now, so I have plenty of time to head over to the other side of Dorf. Close access to these signals is tough, so I settle for a vantage from where the old passenger station used to be. There's not much here but an empty lot, and some stone patches and rails buried in the weeds. Possibly an old freight house track, but I don't know for sure.
65K, 4242, I have permission by your work zone.
Outpost HD 67, west on main 1, not to exceed 2525, over.
A limited clear signal is already displayed for 65K, who is passing the work site a few miles east of here at 25 miles per hour, which is half of track speed. A limited clear aspect is red over flashing green, indicating a train is lined for the crossover subject to limited speed, in this case 40 miles per hour. Approach limited precedes this, as heard by the conductor calling the signal at 71.
65K, approach limited 71, 1 west.
I'm near milepost 73, so he'll be here pretty soon. A GE AC-44 C6M and a Dash 9 that will eventually be rebuilt into one lead a train of unit empty tank cars hightailing it back to the Midwest for a refill of America's finest distilled corn. Not the kind that you can drink, but the kind blended into your gasoline.
Okay, limited beer door.
"65K comes off the Chemical Coast in North Jersey from Motiva and Sewaren, while 65E are empties from Kinder Morgan and Linden, New Jersey. Ethanol is placarded 1987 for flammable liquids. Though empty, the vapors still pose a hazard in derailment. Thankfully, 99.9% of carloads arrive at their destination safely, but in 2008, one of these New Jersey-bound trains had a fiery wreck off a bridge in New Brighton, Pennsylvania. In the distance, you can just barely make out a machine working on Track 2, which is the reason for the meet today. Buffer cars are located on each end to provide a collision barrier between the hazardous cars and other moving locomotives or trains.
Goodbye.
After about a half-hour wait, it's finally 94M's turn to proceed east.
94M, clear door, 1 east. 65K, clear 75 2 west.
I was hoping to get a decent throttle show, but with the work zone a few miles away, there was no sense in getting back up to track speed. The weight of the train gives momentum as the tracks dip down through Dorf.
M calling for me, Yelk, over. 94M, 5265. Crash past your conditional stop sign at HP70. On main 1 in an east direction. Stand by, 94M, let me get the main clear, please.
Well, that's all I have for you in this video, and I apologize for not posting in so long. As many of you longtime viewers know, I got engaged last year, so this spring was spent getting ready for my wedding and buying a house in a crazy market, which was way more stressful and took way longer than it should have, but we're finally getting settled in. That's not to say I haven't been out railfanning, because I certainly have, but finding time to edit the backlog has been challenging, especially with our new puppy. Rascal is a mini Aussie Doodle and was born near the Strasburg Railroad. He certainly lives up to the name. His first train sighting was local H31, who had the same powers we saw in the 94M. I will have another 94M video up soon, so I hope you subscribe and tune in for that one too, and in the meantime, I'll be editing some stuff I shot last year and early this year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.